Welcome and thank you for joining us for another informative weekend edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Adrian Atkins, and inside our pages today, tourism job readiness training and preventing mosquito-borne diseases. Sit back and relax during this half hour as these and much more unfold after this quick break.
So many wish they could visit our shores. We live where they vacation. Brand Jamaica beckons all from the four corners of the earth.
Well, as a Jamaican, I have great pride in selling it. You know, your pride that you sell Jamaica with is something that it rolls off. Jamaica has so much to offer, and every time I have the privilege of bringing an executive down to Jamaica, an executive from an airline or a tour operator or a travel agency, and you take them across the country, you know, the pride that they said, wow, I can't imagine, especially when it's their first time. Wow, I love this.
Build it. Cherish it. Our wealth is Brand Jamaica.
Thanks again for being here. One of the key pillars of Jamaica's tourism success is service excellence provided by the people working in the industry. And investment in the skills of these individuals is part of the government's thrust for sustainability. We are opening the pages with a look at a program helping to train and prepare potential employees for the tourism sector.
It was a very good experience. It was a very comfortable environment. It was very interactive. It opened my mind to what to expect within the industry. I am Dereka Williamson. I was a participant of the Tourism Job Readiness program. I participated in this program December of 2022, where I received a double certification under American Hotel and Lodging Association, along with Heart NSTA Trust. So I was certified as a hospitality team member.
The Ministry of Tourism designed the Job Readiness program to help the sector recover from the labor fallout caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. It was rolled out in November 2022, with the first cohort receiving free certified training in hospitality, customer service, health and safety, and other areas. Director of the Jamaica Center for Tourism Innovation, JCTI, Carol Rose Brown, explains how the program prepares persons for employment in the industry.
The Job Readiness program had two components. The Heart NSTA Trust is one of our partners. They developed a job readiness program for the tourism sector specifically. Candidates are invited to take that course, and at the end of it, they'll have an NCT vet certificate. The second part of the course, people were able to take one of two courses, either a customer service course or a food safety course. And at the end of each of those courses, they'd have a certificate from the American Hotel and Lodging Educational Institute, who is another of our partners, our international partner in this regard. So at the end of the job readiness program, which is over 3 days, 3.5 days maybe, candidates will have at least 2 important certifications in tourism.
Ms. Brown says there was positive feedback on the first cohort, but they wanted more participants to sign up and complete the training. It's why the program is being revamped for the 2023-2024 financial year.
We have commissioned a study of workers. This survey will include workers who have returned to the sector and persons who have not. We are attempting to understand something about what challenges, what obstacles potential employees see, and how they would want us to resolve, to react to treat these problems. That is one approach.
Initiatives such as the Tourism Pension Plan and information sharing on the vast career pool in tourism are among several efforts used to assure Jamaica's long-term labor capital.
Tourism has evolved from being a seasonal business where people work for a few weeks or a few months and were on furlough until the next season. Tourism is now a year-round business. It therefore provides people with a better kind of life. They have more consistent opportunities to earn consistent income through the year, proper working conditions. Our job is to help to see to it that Jamaica's employees are better off. Our goal, therefore, is to ensure that these employees are prepared with internationally benchmarked credentials and certification so that they can deliver the promise of quality service that Brand Jamaica is known for.
The approach to reimagining the tourism labor market is one that Mr. Edmund Bartlett is leading through what's called TEAM, the Travel Employment Expansion Mandate.
The very base of our consideration was how do we reimagine the labor market arrangement, create an ecosystem around employment that enables both the employer and the employee to get a balance that provides, one, security on both sides.
Yep.
But certainly, because tourism is known historically to be seasonal employment, the issue of tenure became very, very important. So we have to look at that.
In anticipation of the new format of the Tourism Job Readiness Program, more is being done to change the approach to working in the industry.
So that is the goal, to ensure that our workers have internationally benchmarked certification and are able to attract higher salaries, better terms and conditions of work, and a position of respect and regard.
I'm looking forward for us not to be viewed only as a tourism island, but this is our culture. So it's not that we're doing it because of tourism, we're doing it because it's our culture. So I want the world to see us as that. We're just doing us. So yes, I do plan to take up advanced studies in the tourism field. I am currently pursuing a bachelor's degree in hospitality and tourism management. My career goal is not only to be established within the hospitality and tourism industry, but to eventually have a business that I own personally, to even provide more employment opportunities.
If you no want pop down and fenke, you fi burn mosquito and run with dengue. So no make water cycle in open container. For them we breed up under the danger. Usher them out, run them away. Zap them with the zapper and down them with spray. Use mosquito net and mosquito screen. Protect your household, now make them come in. If you no want pop down and fenke, we fi burn mosquito and run with dengue. If pain lick your head and your joints and your eye, and you want fever vomit and your temperature high, it could be dengue, don't hesitate. See a doctor, don't self-medicate. For some painkiller can make you bleed, and you will try to recover and no succeed. We no want pop down and fenke. We fi burn mosquito and run with dengue.
This week's Healthwise segment takes note of the recent rainfall and the opportunity it presents for mosquito breeding. Watch this next feature to see how you can detect, destroy, and prevent mosquito breeding sites in your neck of the woods.
Mosquitoes are undoubtedly annoying, with their irritating sound and stinging bites. But there are more compelling reasons we'd rather not have them around. Several species are carriers of diseases and a threat to human health. Of most significance to Jamaica is the Aedes aegypti mosquito, known to transmit dengue fever, chikungunya, yellow fever, and the Zika virus. Only female mosquitoes bite, doing so to get the blood they need for egg production. And therefore, only female mosquitoes transmit these viruses.
The Aedes aegypti mosquito is what we call a timid feeder. So she's easily disturbed when feeding. It means that in one night, she may feed on several persons before she takes her complete blood meal. Each time she feeds, she secretes that substance. And in the secretion of the substance, the pathogen is passed on. So in one night, one female Aedes aegypti mosquito is able to infect more than one person.
The female Aedes aegypti mosquito is a prolific breeder.
One female Aedes aegypti mosquito is able to lay up to 200 eggs each time she lays her eggs. So one mosquito can populate an entire area.
The lifespan of the mosquito is around 3 weeks, and the entire cycle from egg to adult can occur in as little as 7 to 8 days. Female mosquitoes are ready to mate within a few hours after reaching their adult stage, and males are usually ready within 24 hours.
This mosquito prefers cleaner waters. For the female mosquitoes, she will lay her eggs in water, and for the Aedes, it will be water which is in and around the household.
So while there are a number of things we can and should do to prevent being bitten, the most effective way to prevent the spread of diseases by these mosquitoes is to prevent their breeding.
The Aedes aegypti mosquito is a mosquito that breeds in a containerized environment. They do not breed in rivers and drains, but they breed in containers that can be found in and around where persons dwell. So come with us and let us show you some of those breeding sites. This is a typical dish drainer that we find in most homes. And under most dish drainer is a tray that collects the water that comes off the dishes. And believe it or not, we have found breeding in several homes in these dish drainers. Yes. You can see that we have water that has settled. If this water does not evaporate quickly, it can lend itself to the breeding of the Aedes aegypti mosquito. So you not only have to empty the dish drainer, but you have to scrub to remove those eggs. This is the typical saucer that we will find under a plant. The rain has reached into fallen, it has collected water, and right now it is steaming with the Aedes aegypti mosquito. Do you have some of these in your home? Aedes aegypti prefers water that is a little bit on the cleaner side, and it's found in a shaded environment. So what should we do with something like this? It's quite simple. You need to throw away the water. And if these containers are not being used, you have to keep them turned down so they're not able to collect water. If you have them under your plants, we ask that you bore holes in them so that it will not collect water. Do you have these in your homes? We find these in a lot of hotels and business places, and we ask those persons, check these bird baths or any ornamental things like these you have in your garden to ensure that they are not breeding the Aedes aegypti mosquito. There are things like this thrown down in person's backyard. Old equipment, old furniture, old fixtures that are taken from homes, especially during construction. These are also able to hold water. And if they're holding water and sit for a while in the environment, they will also breed mosquitoes. And so we have found breeding in wheelbarrows, in old refrigerator, in old sinks such as this one. And we ask persons, if you're throwing out these, please ensure that they are positioned in such a way that they will not collect water.
Many persons, when they do have their drums, most times drums do not have any covers. So there is a mesh cover which is so designed to replace the missing covers. It is lightweight, and what we do is just simply slip it over, and the mesh is so designed mosquitoes will not be able to go through this mesh to get to the water. So this is the ideal way. One of the benefits also of this mesh is that even when rain does fall, water will go right through it. This is a typical example where this we have is a plastic drum, and we have a metal cover here which is not designed for this. Whilst in some practice the intent is good, there may be occasions in which it does not fit or sit properly, and as a result you still have openings where mosquitoes can go right through and breed.
The mosquito is breeding right there in some very small places right around where you live. What is the habit we want you to develop? Once every week, search for and destroy the breeding sites of the Aedes aegypti mosquito.
Register your alma mater for the Forestry Department's My Tree Legacy promotion and be a part of the preservation of Jamaica land we love. St. Catherine High past student Prime Minister Andrew Holness recently participated in the initiative.
It is not just because it sounds like a very nice thing to do to plant trees. It is a very real strategic response in being a responsible government, a responsible nation, a caring nation about our planet and our atmosphere and our climate and our environment to plant trees.
Let us highlight your contribution to the My Tree Legacy promotion by submitting videos or pictures of you leaving your mark. Every tree counts. Plant a tree today and keep climate change away.
Up next, a tour of the island's Natural History Museum.
Necessity is the mother of invention, and we had to find a way to survive. And so for the plants, the natural gift of the Creator, we could rely on it to guide us into what we needed to do. I didn't know about Fenzik and your pharmaceutical things. I know about bush. So if I had a headache, I knew as a child that I should use the leaves of 3 mackerel bush and a piece of cloth and tie it on my head, and the pain would go.
The use of herbs as medicine. While this age-old practice has been overlooked by many, the Institute of Jamaica saw it fitting to mount an exhibition on medicinal plants of Jamaica and their uses, bringing to the present the medicinal habits used in the past.
So at least 330 plants have been found growing in Jamaica, have been identified as having medicinal value. Of that 334, at least 193 have been assessed for their biochemical activities, and 23 of those are actually endemic plants.
Not every plant, though in its natural form is good, is accessible to everybody. And knowing the information about the plant and wanting to get that into the hands of the people, some of our scientists have begun to study extensively some of these plants to see how they can be formulated in such a way so that they can be packaged and be accessible to the public.
You just don't wake up and say, Eureka, I have found it. They would have learned from the people in the community what plants were used for what purpose. So you know all those things in your childhood because they were continually using the plants of nature to assist in what they were doing.
Ever since I was a child, my mom always said I'm going to break a piece of bush to make tea if the tea bag run out. But what was I getting out of it? I had no clue. And sometimes people say it worked, some other people say it didn't work. So that's why I really did the research to find out if these plants actually work. So we started only making butterbrush, which is also known as Callistemon viminalis. And then we broadened and we focused on lemongrass. We focused on most of the herbs that are used by native Jamaicans to cure different ailments.
In addition to the showcase, students from the Dunrobin, Chetola Park and the Rollington Town primary schools were scientists for a day as they participated in one of the institution's monthly and afternoon with a scientist sessions. Modeled around the Ministry of Education's academic calendar, the mandate of the program is to expose students to and encourage an appreciation for different disciplines of science through fun-filled scientific activities.
I've been promoting entrepreneurship, especially in the medicinal plant industry. So one of the things I do is to give back. So I volunteer even at my children's school. We have an entrepreneurial club where I teach them to make different products from plants.
I learned that they can use herbs to make soap. It was very exciting because I got to see what dangerous chemicals they use in it and how is it correct to go on the skin. First, we had to put some coconut oil in like a metal cup. Then we had to put shea butter in it and melt it. And then we put it in sodium hydroxide. And it was very, very, very hot. I spilled it a couple times, but it was okay, just a little cleanup. And it began to get thick, so I was like, what should I do now? And she was like, just mix it, it's normal. And then we got to put what we want in there. I put charcoal in there, and then I made a swirl in the mold. It was a very good experience.
I'm so happy our students were able to participate in the activity held here at the Institute, where they learn more about medicinal plants. I believe it's very important for them to know that the plants that are found right there in their backyards can be used for healing of ailments that they'll have, the common cold, whatever the ailment may be.
This is what I would like to engage the people in. Go back to their communities and learn how people lived, a generation which came out of slavery, could neither read nor write, and yet they were able to contain themselves and to live. We want the students to have some respect for the heritage of this country because it is going to guide you to the future.
Keep that smile on their faces and preserve their innocence. Cherish the moments you have with them and create the best memories. Let's inspire our children to dream big and work hard to achieve all they aspire to be. Take the time to listen to our children and really hear their side of the story. Our children deserve love and the right to access their basic needs. Do your part and protect our children.
It's that time of year when several children say goodbye to their primary school and are gearing up to take on secondary education. But for a few good reasons, some may need a transfer from an assigned school to another. Here are some tips that will make the process seamless.
The Ministry of Education and Youth is responsible for the placement of students who sit the Primary Exit Profile PEP exam, which assesses students' knowledge as well as critical thinking and communication. Students are placed based on the results of the Primary Exit Profile PEP tests given in grades 4, 5, and 6. The parents' or guardians' top choices from a list of potential schools. While the Ministry of Education and Youth does not generally assist with student transfers from one school to another, requests will be supported in circumstances of proximity. This is when a child may have been assigned to a school where he or she would have to travel considerably long distances from home to school. However, in cases where you are seeking transfers for children who have already been placed in schools by the Primary Exit Profile PEP placement process, it is your responsibility as a parent to contact a school that is willing to accept your child or children. Here are the steps to allow for a smooth transfer process. Submit a letter of request for transfer to the school desired. The school should then provide you, the parent or guardian, with an acceptance letter. Take that acceptance letter to the school where the child was originally placed. The school administrator must then provide a release letter. You are then required to write a letter addressed to the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Education and Youth, requesting approval for transfer. This letter must be accompanied by the acceptance and release letters and should be taken to the respective regional office. The Ministry of Education and Youth, through the regional offices, will send approval letters to the accepting and releasing schools within 1 week from the date received. Make sure you have the necessary paperwork from the primary school to speed up the procedure. And that will be the child's last 2 reports, grades 5 and 6. A recommendation from the principal, the official scoring sheet from the Ministry of Education and Youth with the child's grades for PEP. Other documents such as the child's birth certificate and immunization record should also be made available. And keep in mind that it is your duty to get in touch with a school that will accept your child. Follow the transfer procedure to help your child enroll in the institution you believe will give him or her the best chance for a successful academic career.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Your government is empowering you through education, training, and development. That is why we have removed all fees for every Jamaican accessing training through the Heart NSTA Trust. So, whatever you desire training in, food and hospitality, beauty and cosmetology, housekeeping and hotel management, welding, carpentry, masonry, or any of the dozens of programs Heart offers, you can enroll completely free and change your life. We are building Jamaica.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Setting things right, this Honourable House passed legislation against sexual harassment. My intention is to set Monday, July 3 as the commencement date of the Sexual Harassment Act.
For years, there have been complaints about sexual harassment, and we did not have a legislation to address this, and so persons were suffering in silence.
Know that the act is here. It says if you harass someone, you will pay.
The law comes into force on July 3, meaning everybody is required now to take it seriously.
Everyone should know that there is a process. You have been harassed, you go to HR.
Give them all the information that is possible. When it happened, where it happened, all the details if there's anybody was a witness.
HR has 2 days in which to inform the person that there's been a complaint against them. They have 14 days in which to do an investigation, and if nothing is done, the person can now take their complaint to the tribunal.
If the case is brought before the tribunal and the person is found guilty, the penalty for that is up to $1 million Jamaican dollars or imprisonment.
The tribunal is housed within the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Persons can know that if they have a complaint, they can go to the tribunal. It will be taken seriously and it will be confidential.
This is where we end the program for today. Be here on this station tomorrow and we will have much more to share. Until then, there are lots to watch over on our website, jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Remember, live good and do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.